So, Nothing is back with another smartphone. This time, the Nothing Phone 3, which is what they call their flagship phone, a real, true flagship device. It loses some of the features that we've come to love about Nothing phones, so the Glyph interface on the back. It's been replaced with this circle here, which is also full of LED lights. We'll talk about that much more in a second. And this has 50 megapixel camera galore. So we're talking the ultra wide camera is 50 megapixel, the periscope is 50 megapixel, the main lens is 50 megapixel, and also the front facing camera is 50 megapixel as well. So this could be a really great device for content creators out there. Now, when it comes to that flagship title, this is controversial because it doesn't have the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite or something that's upcoming. It's running something a bit less, but it still offers some of the features that you'd class as flagship. So you're talking like AI features, you're talking the camera quality, the software, and so much more. Even the build quality, I think, is flagship level. Let's start with the design of the phone. As always, the back is exposed so we can see all the inner workings of the Nothing Phone 3. Although we lose that Glyph interface, so the lighting that we normally have on the back, that's no longer there. That's been replaced with this screen here that gives us Glyph toys and so much more. We'll get to that in a second as well. The red dots there as well, which is something we know with Nothing. Nothing's written on the back. There's also a Glyph button on the back again. Again, we'll get into that very shortly. Over on the right side, we get your power button and also your essential space button, which allows you to quickly take notes on the go, take screenshots, just keep track of things on the go as you're doing things. I think I said that weird, but you get the gist. And then right on the bottom of the device is where we'll find our USB-C ports, SIM card tray, speaker grills there as well. And then over on the other side is where we'll find our volume rocker, so you can change volume very easily. And then up top, there's nothing there but another speaker grill, so we get that stereo dual speaker setup, that kind of thing. So it has a fingerprint sensor for getting into the device, so you press and hold, it gets into the device very quickly, so it works very well, which is no issues there at all. This is a 6.67 flexible AMOLED display, offers 460 ppi, and will give you 4,500 nits of peak brightness, higher when it comes to HDR and manual settings. It gives you 120 Hz refresh, so when it comes to gaming and just that fluid display, it works really well. And you get 1000 Hz touch sampling, which is one of the highest I've used out there. For battery life, we're talking 5,150 milliamp-hour battery, so it should last you a day and then some, which I've been getting on this so far. And also, we get IP68 water and dust resistance, and this option for 12 gigabytes of RAM with 256 gigabytes of storage, or you can get 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of internal storage, which will cost you a bit more. The latter is £799, and the 16 gig 512 combination is £899 here in the UK. So if you're still trying to contemplate whether this is flagship level, you are getting some flagship pricing, but it's still on the lower end of what you get compared to what else is on the market. But although some of the competitors does offer a Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, so that could be something food for thought. And then elsewhere we have this 92.89% screen to body ratio, so you get slim bezels, which is very cool. Very asymmetrical in terms of the way it looks as well. You get glass, Corning Gorilla Glass 7i front and Victus on the back, so it's a bit stronger on the back, I believe. This will give you 65 watts of fast charge and 15 watts of wireless charging. So if you want to charge it wirelessly, it's a bit slower, but still industry standard. The 16 gigabytes of RAM is LPDDR5X, and the storage is UFS 4.0. So it'll be really quick when it comes to recording videos, saving files, accessing files, all that kind of stuff, and uploading. It'll be very quick. So more on the camera that we have on the back in terms of the setup. We have 50 megapixel main camera at f1.68. It has 2 times in-sensor zoom. We have 50 megapixel periscope, which will give you f2.68, 3 times optical zoom, 6 times in-sensor zoom, and up to 60 times ultra zoom, which I don't know if that'll be useful. I've tried it, it's okay, but not something that I'll post online. But the optical zoom works really well. Then we get 50 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, which is f2.2, gives you 114 degrees field of view. And over on the front, if we're just unlucky so we can see it, we get 50 megapixel front facing camera, which is f2.2 and gives you 81.2 degrees field of view. So ultra wide enough to get more than one person in, get yourself in as well, get some really nice selfies on the go. Quick tour of the device. Let's look at the settings so we can see there, connectivity options are there. But when we go to Glyph interface, this is very important. So it's different on this now, so we don't get the lights in on the back. It's just that circle on the back, which I've showed you already. So we can switch that on or off. But what you get is Glyph toys, which allows you to do things like use it for digital clock. You can just spin the bottle. You got a battery life that will show you on there as well. Really cool stuff. And then we move further down, we have things like flip to Glyph. Let me turn that on. I kind of like that stuff. Ringtones are available as well, and you can even create icons and attach them to different contacts on your phone, which is kind of cool. You can even change the brightness level as well of that Glyph interface on the back, the new Glyph interface on the back. But that's pretty much what you can do. So you have Glyph toys, you got the light, you got features like flip to Glyph, you got visual feedback for ringtones as well. Notifications can appear as well, and you can even turn off automatically during bedtime, so it doesn't light up suddenly when you're sleeping and then wakes you up and all that kind of stuff. Let's go back out. We have Essential Intelligence. So this is that Essential button on the side I was talking about. So you have Essential Space, you got Wallpaper Studio available, you got Essential News widget, ChatGPT widget as well, and ChatGPT interaction as well. So Essential Intelligence is not something that I use often, but it could be useful for productivity because you can press that button, make notes on the go. Or if you see something on your screen that you want to keep in that space so you can look at it later, write notes on it, you can press it, it takes a screenshot of that screen. So for example, if you're shopping or whatever and you see something you like, it could be useful for that. We go back out, we get your lock screen option. So we click there as well. So some options available there. You can have a look at that in your own time. And then we go further down, we go into display settings, so we can see some of that settings here. So for example, adaptive brightness is there as well. And then if we scroll all the way down here, we can see the display refresh rate. So we've got dynamic, we've got high, or you can have standard. And I think for most gamers, you probably have your high at all times, but for day-to-day use, have it as dynamic, because then the phone will decide when to stick this into that high refresh rate and when to reduce it to something that's more palatable for the battery life, so it lasts a bit longer. Although you do get a big battery life in here, and that's 65 watts fast charge, which just adds up to a really good experience. And then we scroll down as well, we'll still get some of the other features, like digital well-being is there, security settings are there. And then if you want to, you can go to about phone. So it gives you more information about the device, what's in there. So the processor is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8S Gen 4, like I said, not 8 Elite. And the one I have here is the top whack. So you get 16 gigabytes of internal storage, RAM, and 512 gigabytes of internal storage, and some of the other settings, other information like screen size, and so on and so forth. If you go back out and go to special features, this is where you can see some of the extra things you can do on here. So the things like your gesture, a RAM booster, so you can add to that RAM that you have already. Game mode as well, pop-up views there. And some of the experimental features like AirPods support, dot matrix title as well, and so on and so forth. So you can play with that and see if you want to use them, if it's useful to you or not. But let's have a look at that Glyph interface on the back again. So we have the button there, which allows you to activate it. So you can see you can already play spin the bottle option there. You can see in the corner. Press it again. You can see sort of the battery levels and the time right now and so on. So it's quirky. It's fun. You can press on hold it to start playing spin the bottle, as you can see there. So it's spinning and spinning away, and then stops randomly, like you would actually play the game in real life. Then it flashes. So I think it's cool. I don't think it's an issue. Some people have issues with it. They prefer the old style with the lights. But I think this is some sort of an improvement from what it was before. I think I still prefer the lights. They could have combined those two, I think. But I don't know. I think it's there. You can play games with it. You can use it for all kind of different things like timer, and you can even use it as a countdown timer as well. So when you're taking a selfie photo, and you put on timer, you can see when this is going to go off. So you make sure that you're in shot and you're ready for that shot. So it is useful. So I don't think it's something that's a bit of a gimmick. I think it's something that you'll use over time, over and over and over and again, rather than the light. I think the light is, the novelty wears up very quickly. So after using it a few times, you stop paying attention to it. Other people will see it. I mean, strangers will see it and say, oh, what's that? But yourself, I think myself, I just look at it and be like, meh. But other thing when it comes to the design is the camera placement. I think it just looks so odd on the back. I don't know how I feel about it at all. I think it doesn't have some sort of placement that's uniformed in some sort of way. I think it's just oddly placed. That's probably something that I'm not very keen on, but I like the Glyph interface and obviously the transparent back as always. And it just works really well. It's very, very responsive. Let's have a look at the camera interface. So here we have video at 0.6, 1x, 3x, that's 70 millimeters. So again, very useful stuff. If I tap here, we can shoot 4K at up to 60 frames per second. So 4K 60 frames is available, and that's available across all of them. So 0.6x, 3x, 1x, you can do so. Then you go to photo as well. You got 0.6x, 1x, 50 millimeters, which is 2x. You've got 70 millimeters, and then also 6x. So I think after using it for a while, I think for me the question remains, is this a true flagship device? and is it worth the price tag? I think it definitely does have the flagship level of user experience. So for example, the camera quality is really good, I think, especially when the lighting is right. The only time you start to notice things is when it comes to low light capabilities. So that's when you start to think, is it quite there? It doesn't have Snapdragon 8 Elite, which for the people that are into their tech, when you start comparing to what else is on the market, that gives you 8 Elite, and you're paying £899 for this particular configuration, you must start to think, do I go for the other ones? But what I will say though is it gives you a really clean user interface and experience with nothing. I think it's very close to what you get with a Google Pixel in terms of the experience for the user interface and how clean it is, no bloatware, all that kind of stuff. It's capable of gaming, like really good gaming levels on here with no hiccups at all, so I wouldn't complain about that at all. Good level of Geekbench scores. I think it's scored well as well. You got Google Gemini in here for some AI features, as well as their own AI features that's embedded into the phone, like that essential space. So I think it has a lot of flagship level things or features and experience. But for the price tag, I'm still going to question whether I want to spend that much money on it or not for what you're getting. The thing is, on the back as well, I'm not sure about that design, but I think that perhaps it's something that you get used to. And at the end of the day, it's probably not an area that you look at all the time. Although, with this new Glyph interface, you're going to be looking at it a lot more, which means you're going to notice those two googly eyes on the back of the phone, which I think will take some getting used to. The essential button as well, I don't like that it's placed lower compared to the power button, because what happens a lot of the time is I just mistake them for each other. I press the wrong button sometimes and it just takes a lot of screenshots into my phone that I'm just like, this is not what I was trying to do, if you get my gist. So, but really good. Some good photos up on the screen as well, so you can see what snaps I took with it. But I think overall, not bad at all. Good screen as well. Looks very good, very sharp, colorful, vibrant, and is good in low lights. In bright light situations. So I think it's not all bad. It's very good. I think a lot of the positives outweighs the negatives here. So this is definitely one to consider if you're looking for a flagship device that's affordable, but also quirky and stands out in its own unique way on the market today. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any questions, drop them there as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.